new segment to the restoration of the Jewel. As you can see, the car's apart again. You're probably wondering how many times I'm going to take this car apart and put it back together again. This is the last time that it's apart, because now I've done all the underneath. I've rebuilt the front end. I put a 64 Chevy rear axle on it. Got that all done. That spring's all done. And now I painted the dash. So I'm going to take all this off of here and I'm going to remask all this and paint the firewall, door jambs around the trunk. Then I'm going to put it back together again for the final time. And we are going to assemble motor in it, hook up a lot of stuff on the motor as much as we can, get the doors to fit, get the hood to close real nice, get that all done, and then we're going to the paint shop. As you remember, all this was cut out of this car, and I put this all back in again, put the dash back again, painted it. This is difficult to paint with, and so I'm going to sand this down and buff this all out, get this straightened out, and then of course I'm going to be ready to start putting this back together. We've got the back seats done, upholstery wise. I got the new headliner, I got the new carpets. Tom is working on door panels. The front seat, I had to straighten the front seat, I got that done. But here is the beginning of our upholstery. Tom Gorgon is doing the upholstery for us. He's not charging us a dime. We paid for all the materials and he's just giving us the labor. But this is the back seat. It's completed, and it was done the way Jim, now it's a little different than what Jim's seat was. Jim's seat had one big diamond in it, and Jim didn't like that. And he asked Tom to put in these two smaller diamonds, which Tom said were a little tough to make sure they lined up, but he got it done. But that's just beautiful, beautiful work. The whole interior is going to be this nice, and we are going to have a top quality custom car when we get done. So as you can see, we're still working on the front end, but this is just all pretty minor stuff. I've kind of been sandbagging on it a little bit because I can't get it in the paint booth to get it sanded down and reprimed. But I want to paint the inside of these fenders the same color, the candy apple that the car is going to be painted. So I had to fix all this. I welded up about 20 some holes in here so I can get this nice and smooth. Of course, then we'll get some primer on it. Now this is the chrome we've been talking about that Jim had put on this car back in 1960. This is 57 Studebaker President rear fin chrome, rear quarter panel chrome. And this is the way Jim had it laid out. And what we're going to do is we're going to get this all marked out, and then we're going to cut these off, flange these ends down. These two pieces will go in the front fenders. This will go on the doors, and it's going to be a simple procedure. What we'll do is we'll mark this out with a ballpoint pen. We'll center the holes with a center punch. We'll drill that out, and that chrome will just snap right on there. The only thing we'll have to do is we'll have to flange these ends down a little bit so they'll open without running into the front fender. So that'll take some work, but that won't be a big deal. But we were quite lucky to find this chrome. I'm thankful to my good friend Mike, the Greek Prios, for finding this for us to put this together. We're still missing two pieces of chrome. If any of you know anyone that's got a 51 or 52 Chevy coupe, business coupe, we need some chrome that goes around the body line. And we're looking all over heck for it. So if you happen to know of anything, let us know and we'll get a hold of them and see if we can get that bought. That's about the only thing we've had left to find. We've got about everything else. We've been ordering parts like crazy. We've been spending money like drunken Italians. Of which I are one. Not a drunk, I mean, but an Italian. To get the parts we need. We've just ordered about everything. New carburetors, and I ordered an airlift kit for the rear suspension, and headliner and carpets and all the stuff that goes with the car. And lots and lots. I got a whole great big pile of parts over there, and I got a bunch more coming. But it's going to be all the stuff we need to bolt this car together. So it's going to go together really well. Should go pretty fast. We have all new glass. We've got all new felts and kitty hair for around the windows. It's just going to take a little time to do it, but it'll go together pretty well. So far, we've been having pretty good luck. We do have a stainless polisher, so we'll repolish this stainless so it looks way better than it does now even. And so this is going to be a pretty car. Now remember, this is not going to be a show car like you're used to seeing today with all the billet this and billet that and aluminum this and aluminum that and everything handmade with you know, English wheels and flashing hammers and all that stuff. This is an old school car that I'm building back to the way it was built in 1960. So it's going to be crude. It's going to be a crude car. It's going to look nice. It's going to work. It's going to be it would have been a tremendous car show, custom car show winner back in 1960, 62, and 64. But by today's standards, it's going to be a little crude. So be gentle with us when you see it. Just remember, this is an old car with a real old history, and we want to keep it that way. This is going to be the heart of the Jewel. This, you know, and basically we really didn't need a big fancy hoo-ha thungle booper motor. We just needed a good running motor that we could drive it to shows and to drive it to swap meet or to outdoor meets and whatever. So we really didn't need a real expensive motor. And I had one lined up and it turned out that it wasn't good. So this motor right here is a 355. Started out life as a 350, it's 355. It's got a cam in it and some little stuff like that. This was a motor I was going to put in my 62 Chevy two-door sedan Bel Air that I was building, that I'm still building. And this is a 700R transmission, which I had assembled to put in that 62 Chevy. I'm going to sacrifice it and put it in the Jewel because we need a motor. And so maybe later on down the road, if things work out right, I might switch this motor out and put a regular 350 back in it. But, you know, that's probably unlikely. Once I get this done, I'm going to want to keep it together. I would like to talk about these tires for just a second for all you people out there that are restoring or building cars. You'll notice the white wall, you'll notice the original tread. These are Firestone tires. At least once or twice a month, somebody will call me and they can't find any tires for their project. And they've been all over looking at everything. I'm telling you right now, people, they're out there and they're not that hard to find. Tires to fit your particular car, no matter what it is, whether it's 16s, 17s, 15s, 20s, 23s, whatever car you've got, Model Ts, Model A's, old stuff, those tires are out there. You just need to look for them, and it ain't that hard. These tires, what's amazing is the price differential. I'm just continually astounded as I get parts for this car, the price differences for the same part. These tires cost me about $210 a piece, and that sounds like that's bad enough. But I found the very same tire in the very same lineup as this one for over $500. So if you weren't looking, you'd get stuck for $500 for one of these tires, which I don't think any of you are dumb enough to do, but it's there. The fact of the matter is that it's there for you to get burned on because it's the same tire that I bought for $200 and you're looking at $500 because you didn't just look a little bit further. So I just want to tell you that take your time, look around. The tires that you want are out there. And there's all kinds of different kinds of tires made by different, whether it's Dunlop, whether it's Firestone, whether it's B.F. Goodrich. A lot of them, they've got the original molds, and Coker does this, probably the world's most famous tire manufacturer, has got molds for just about every tire that's ever made. So I'm just making a little plug here for the fact that you're building a car and you want just something that looks good. You're not going to be doing any high-speed road racing. These old bias ply tires are really good. They balance out good. They run good. They'll run you right down the road. They get you decent gas mileage. And they're period correct. Period correct tread, period correct white wall, whole 9 yards. So here it is. Take your time and you'll find the tire you're looking for. Well, I'd like to thank you all that are taking the time to watch this video of this car that we're putting back together. Every day somebody calls me and asks me how the car is coming and how we're coming along, how we're getting it put together. And I want you to know that I appreciate you looking at it. I appreciate you following us. But I do have a very selfish reason for doing these videos, and Mike doesn't even know this. Every day, someone calls me about building a car, and they don't have a clue how to do it. And I want you to look at this knowing that here's a little short, fat Italian guy all by himself working on putting his car back together that was so destroyed that they were going to cut it up and make a couch out of it. And one guy, me, has put this car back together enough that we are going to have a beautiful custom car when we're done, which lets you know that you can do the same thing. You can do the same thing. And if you have any questions or any problems or anything you want to talk about, don't hesitate to call me at the museum. I'm here every day, and I do mean every day, Monday through Sunday, trying to impart with you the knowledge that you too can do this. And you don't have to put $40 or $50 or $60,000 into the car. This, I assembled this, I took this front end apart and reassembled it in 4 hours. It was a simple matter of unbolting it, cleaning it, and bolting it back together again. And I'm not a master mechanic, I'm just a guy with a lot of experience. You can do the same. It's not that difficult. And I put the Chevy rear end in, the 64 Chevy rear end, took the old one out, threw it out back, set the rear end up in there, measured it out. A trick way you can do it to get it lined up in your housing, to get it lined up in your fender well, take a string, tie a big nut on the end of it, measure your outing, get the center, put the string on that center, and then line that rear end up with that string. And that'll show you exactly where that rear end needs to be centered. And then all you do is you weld those pads back in and you're done. That's it. So thank you. I appreciate you coming by. Appreciate you listening. I appreciate you following me along. Things are going to start happening pretty fast now. Once I get a little bit of paint here and there and get it out of here where I can get at it, we're going to start bolting this thing together and it's going to start looking like a car pretty fast. So stay tuned. We'll be back in another week or two.